the unfortunate posture we're in right now is there's a very important healthcare meeting going on one floor up. I'm a member of that committee, as well as Senator Orrock, Senator Mike Hodges, who are still up there, and also Senator Kay Kirkpatrick is on that committee that's supposed to present a bill here today. So it's going to be a little different, but we can go ahead and start taking some testimony on the bill and see if we've got a quorum to move forward on it. There are 3 items on here. And Representative Jackson, I know, had a funeral. There was one question we had left, and one of his colleagues offered to sub in for him today, but we said we will just wait on that one. I think we've got most of those issues to go on. Let me go back. And actually, Senator Kirkpatrick possibly may have to stay up there and not present today and move forward from what she's saying now, so we'll see. Anyway, but we probably, with all this going on, we should at least pray. So, Senator Albers, if you would do that for us, I would appreciate it.
Please bow your heads. Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for your provision of rain. Thank you for the opportunity to serve the people of Georgia. Please give us your wisdom and your discernment as we deliberate and make important decisions for the people we serve. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
And I can't remember, I said Senator Shelley Eccles, but she's also up in that meeting right now too. So back to back on Wednesday may not be that great. So Senator Kirkpatrick is still up there. Representative Jackson we're holding off for. So I guess even though I'm much more comfortable sitting in this seat, I'll go back and talk about tax expenditure transparency down there if Senator Albers would chair the meeting.
All right, Mr. Chairman, thank you for bringing Senate Bill 366 before your committee today, LC 500644, and we'll have you take it away.
All right, and also as we get started, among the millions out there in the viewer audience, I want to recognize someone named Lily Ann Beatty who's watching online. She is a Georgia Tech student, and one of her public policy projects this fall was working in the Lieutenant Governor's office to work on this bill and help us get it in place. And so I want to give her the credit for all the hard work she did on it. We've got, and let me tell Senator Kirkpatrick, so she's in the meeting. I was gonna present this one, but if you wanted to go ahead first, you're welcome to on your bill.
I'm fine, we're going to the same place.
Yeah, we have to go to the same place either way when this is over. All right, so this is part of our study committee that we did on transparency and what this bill will do. Let me pull it out of the folder here. We have a tax credit study, and I want to say that this particular bill has nothing to do with any particular tax credits in and of itself as far as doing something with them. It's more trying to continue a process that would be in place and having more transparency, as that's talked about in section 1 about being transparent. One change that would be there is if you notice in there that the House has 24 hours to view a bill after they pass it out, and this would give the Senate the same 24 hours in less than 28 on appropriations. And the other thing it would do is we feel like a lot of the revenue is sort of hidden back in some appendixes and stuff that comes in, and then different things deduct from it. This would put all of that in the front more prominently, where we would see all the expenditures we're making for taxes, exemptions, those kind of things, and let them be looked at by everybody, because sometimes people just see a net number and don't appreciate what all that is. And then So that's all of that section 2. Section 3 then would say, we're gonna, and this is actually modifying some legislation that we already did, and I'll back up and say that part of the reason for this is that we want to be like every other state around us and evaluate these things more than once every 12 years like it's been this time. We want to do it on a regular basis, but not just because the other states do it, but because we should be doing it. It's our job to look out for the taxpayer money and regularly look at these expenditures. So this would change in line 56 the 5 to 6 analysis, and it's limited to one existing provision of law, as you see, one particular exemption. And then the other thing, at the request of some people that maybe don't always agree with the fiscal audits department, is they wanted some time to look at it and respond to it. So if you go down to line 61, that they will put out a preliminary analysis within 6 months of the request, and then upon completion of that, they'll publish such analysis public website and afford all interested parties a reasonable opportunity to submit data, views, or arguments orally in writing regarding the preliminary analysis. And then they'll compile all those and publish a final report, which includes a summary of such submissions. Now, this actually has happened on some things in the past where they've put others' input in there, but it doesn't always happen. And so this would formalize the process, and then we would present these to the people as you see listed below. And then the follow-up with this in section 4 would be that we will have a joint committee that would meet every other year and look at, and you can see the people on that list in line 92 on down, that would look at these in the odd number years when the co-chairs would call this committee together. So this is, again, we're not looking at any particular credit or exemption. This is just putting in place a process that, number one, will have some transparency on these dollar impacts to the budget, and number two, will have a regular, ongoing method of studying these exemptions, exclusions, deductions, and credits, and different things that are in the budget. Hopefully I explained that in a reasonable format for everybody.
Very thoroughly, Mr. Chairman. First, I want to thank you for the great work you did with several of us on this committee during the summertime as we met all around the state with the members of the House. I appreciate the great work on extending it from 5 credits, which you and I worked on several years ago, to 6, and the ongoing look at this. I think this is a great bill, a lot of good transparency in government. With that, I've got a question for you from Senator Hickman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, please explain to me, or to us, the 5 to 6, and then the rest of it. I don't quite understand why we're going from 5 to 6, or the need to go to 5 to 6. Give me some background information.
I think this was a request from some leadership that thought we probably need to cover them all in a reasonable amount of time, that they thought 6 would be the number that would be able to do that.
And Senator, back several years ago, we passed Senate Bill 6, and Senate Bill 6 has the House Ways and Means Chair and the Senate Finance Chair each get to choose 5 exemptions or credits each to be measured during the off season. This will now take it to 6 each, so there'll be a total of 12, so we can do more.
Okay, so this is 6 different credits, not 6 different opinions on one credit.
No, that would just be that we would go from 10 total between the House and Senate to 12
Thank
total
you.
to be looked at on an
Well,
annual basis.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
There's a lot of them out there, and
Thank
this
you for
would
that clarification.
get around to them a little bit more often.
I got a question from Senator Estevez.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Hufstetler, I appreciate this bill. A couple questions. Appreciate the comment period. I think that's good for transparency and obtaining information. I'm sure there are some government relations folks in the crowd that appreciate the opportunity to respond and to add information on some of these audits. I had a question about the joint committee. Was there any consideration about the composition of the committee, including opportunity for bipartisanship? Appreciate the chairs of each of these committees being necessary, but such an important committee, I would think, could benefit from having some voices from the minority.
Right, and of course, we did that on our previous committee, and I hope that would be the case. We didn't put it in law on the previous committee, but we did have representatives of both sides, and so,
Well, if I'm correct, Mr. Chairman, to help answer that question, one member of the Senate will be appointed by the President of the Senate and one by the Speaker of the House, and they could certainly choose anyone they feel fit to be on that committee.
my preference would to have input from both parties on this committee.
Other questions for Chairman Huffstetler? All right, I've got a question from Senator Orrock.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that this is really the way to go forward to the author of the bill. And it moves us along a continuum that this Finance Committee has been seeking to, advance for some time now. What could we do to assure bipartisan composition? How would we accomplish that with this bill?
Well, I'm certainly willing to look at that as we move on with the process and see, what we can do to that. As I said before, when we did the first committee, we made sure that both bodies had representation from the minority party.
That's right, and
that
everybody
particular
worked
time.
really hard. I got the impression, from watching and seeing the work of the committee. Is it possible to add 2 more members, or how did it happen that on that joint study committee, it did in fact have some minority party?
Yeah,
members?
it wasn't codified into the law, but we made sure it happened.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to get the body too big, but I'd be willing to look at something like that, I think.
Right, because this is it's a 8-member committee, am I?
Mm-hmm. So,
Well, hopefully that could be something to.
yeah, so we can, this has still got to go through the House and go through the process, obviously. So if we wanted to change that to a member appointed from each party, I could be okay with that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
All right, question from Senator Cowser.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That would really be a suggestion to the author. The way to fix that would be after lines 104 to insert really an 8th and a 9th and a 10th member, and you would just let the President of the Senate appoint 1 member from the majority party, and the next line would say President of the Senate 1 member from the minority party. Same thing for the House. It would expand your committee to 10, and I'm not, I'm not offering an amendment unless you want to do that. but you might want to.
I'm fine with that. My opinion was that they would be coming from the minority party, but if we want to codify that into law and make it 10 members, that's okay
I
too.
personally like the idea of being additional because I believe I was the appointee by the President of the Senate that was not one of these roles. And of course, I wasn't in the minority party, and it would guarantee that. I just know that when we come out of Finance Committee being engrossed, I'd rather see us get it right here, if there's consensus. I'm not,
I agree.
it's your bill, Mr. Chairman.
Sure,
Thank
no,
you.
I'm fine with that would be a friendly amendment to me to codify that and increase the member of the committee.
All right, one more question from Senator Estevez.
No, Mr. Chairman, I was just going to make a motion to.
Okay, we're not quite there yet. I appreciate it. We got to hear from somebody first. Okay. All right. All right, we've got one person signed up for this bill from Americans for Prosperity. Ms. Harn, you want to come on down? Just sit right there next to Chairman Huffstetler, please.
How are you today?
Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony on this. I'll be brief, I promise. Americans for Prosperity strongly supports this legislation. As we know, Georgia already leads the country in spending taxpayer dollars efficiently, and this bill would help our state move toward more competitive and opportunity unleashing tax reform. It would do so by including Georgia's revenue policies in the General Appropriations Act. Putting revenue policies in the Appropriations Act would create a more complete budget for legislators to manage. A budget should be a comprehensive tool for managing spending and revenue policies, and that's the standard for the entire private sector. The public sector is lagged, however, and this legislation would put Georgia in a leadership role on budgeting among other states. The possibilities for improving value for all Georgians could go well beyond tax policy and include health, education, pension, and other positive changes. So thank you for offering this legislation, and as I mentioned, Americans for Prosperity Georgia is proud to support this. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. All right, we're going to take a motion on the bill first, and then we'll go to amendments. To what is the will of the committee? And a motion do pass from Senator Hickman, second from Senator Orrock. Are there any amendments? I'll recognize Senator Estevez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to amend line 102 to add in between the words "the" and "Senate," add "majority party of the Senate." So it would read "one member of the majority party of the Senate," and then 103 would say "one member of the majority party of the House of Representatives." And then after line 104, add numbers 9 and 10, which would read the same, except instead of majority, it would say minority.
All right, I'm going to look over to our legislative council to make sure we captured that properly, and we're getting an affirmative nod. Do I have a second on that amendment?
I'll second that.
And a second from Senator Cowsert. Any discussions on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. The amendment passes unanimously. We now have a new committee substitute after the amendment. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Passed unanimously. Congratulations, Mr. Chairman. Best of luck in the Rules Committee, and I'll switch seats with you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Senator Kirkpatrick, if you want to come up, we will be let you present your bill here to the committee. Let me get my papers organized just a second here. All right, well, it's a very short bill, so maybe we all can read it here, but let me make sure we're working from the same LC number. Senate Bill 340, LC 432922.
That's correct.
Okay, we'll go ahead and present your bill to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't go before the Finance Committee a lot. I'm not really a numbers person, but this bill is important because we need to be making a statement that we support safe storage of lawful firearms. And this bill provides for a sales tax exemption for the purchase of gun safes, trigger locks, padlocks, and all the devices that are outlined in the bill. Technically, I guess this should start in the House, but I think the Senate needs to be engaged in this issue and go ahead and make a statement. I know the House has a tax credit bill tax credits can be more complicated and are also a little bit controversial right now. And so I wanted to give them another option by getting this bill over to them. There is a fiscal note. You should have it, I hope, in your packet, which it's not a big impact. It's roughly $1.6, $1.7 million. Do you have it?
We've got it in the packet,
Okay,
yes.
great. So that's what I'm trying to do, is give people an incentive to safely store their weapons in their homes. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, fairly straightforward bill here. Any questions from the committee?
Make a motion at the appropriate time.
Okay, we've got a motion from Senator Albers that we do pass LC 432922. Is there a second? Second from Senator, well, Hodges beat you over there, so sorry. Any other discussion from the committee? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Okay, we have, was that one opposed to the bill? All right, motion carries, and good luck for you in rules as
Thank
well.
you.
With that being all our business, let the record reflect that the Health Committee started an hour before we did, and they're still going up there, and we will, a few of us, go back and join them. Meeting adjourned.